Welcome to the weekly RFOX AMA, everyone. Today, Chief Product Officer Luke Fairbank's joining us, and we'll go a bit deeper into the product development updates today. Luke, how are you going?
Very well, Lenny. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Good to see you in here. All right, so let's get into it. Now, what you're working on right now is so unique, and a lot of it's never been done before. What are some of the products that you're most excited about that you're working on?
It has to be the mobile version of the Vault. Having an Android and iOS version out there is going to make a huge difference to the size of our the audience we can bring in. And I think one of the limitations or the challenges we've had in these early phases is we want to get people in and testing it and get the feedback, but the amount of Oculus headsets out there at the moment is fairly limited. So especially when we're sort of focusing on our community. So how many people in our community have an Oculus? And the answer is not as many as we'd like. Surprisingly, though, there were quite a few community members that did have them already, and that we brought them straight in. There's a few people outside our community that had them that signed up as well, so that was good. But I think obviously going to Android especially will really open up that opportunity to get people in. And the feedback really, aside from a few slight differences between the Android and iOS app and the original Oculus app, they're very similar. So the assets are all the same. The functionality is basically the same. So that feedback is still valid for all platforms. So really excited to get people in, and just can't wait to get some more feedback, and especially some general feedback from outside of our community as well. Because I think I think because a lot of the people in our community have been along for the journey from the start, I think they sort of know what to expect. It'd be good to get some really fresh eyes coming in and having a look at it and giving us their feedback.
Yeah, definitely. And how far off do you think we would be away from having the mobile platforms mobile versions released?
So the Android version we're going to start sign-ups this week, so I'm really excited about that. So keep an eye out for that. There'll be a form that goes out much the same as the Oculus sign-up form, and that'll be for Android this week. We've got iOS up and running, and we're testing that internally, but Android just landed a little bit earlier, so it's just sort of slightly ahead on that timeline. So iOS, as I said, is working. We're just figuring out the deployment pipeline on that, as we've done over the last couple of weeks for Android. And as soon as that's ready, we'll have a form for iOS as well.
Okay, now what will mobile apps mean for the brand partners that eventually come in to use the platform?
I think what it does is it makes it a lot easier to bring anyone on, because no matter what sort of platform they're using, which is obviously likely to be outside of a VR Oculus platform, then it just opens up opportunities for people that are just iOS or just Android. But it also gives them the opportunity to tap into our ecosystem and use the other platforms that we've released. And the other really obvious one is PC. So work's about to start on that. So that's a little way off, obviously. It's going to take a bit of time to port that across. It's a bit harder than some of the other platforms. But that's the next step. And then once a PC version comes out, that's the whole new world again. So I think the mobile phone platform, and especially PC, just gives us a lot more opportunities, and it makes it a bit easier to integrate with almost everything and everyone. Just gives us more partners to choose from, I guess.
Okay, that's great. And what are some of the general updates for the Vault this week?
So it's really stable at the moment, and I'm really happy that we've got the same version set up across all platforms at the moment, which means that anyone on any release channel and on any platform that comes in will be able to see the other avatars and interact and everything. So if you came in on iOS, on our test version, for example, you'd be able to see people that are in the normal public release channel without any problems. You'd be able to communicate with them. So that's a big thing to be able to have it at such a stable state. So what we're really working on now is building out functionality, and you'll see a lot more functionality coming through, more fun stuff, gamification, things that really I think will entice people to come back and spend more time in here. We've got the basis right now. Obviously, the big ticket items, as I said, are there. Things like the shop functionality, shop owners being able to change the layout of their shop, and I think they've got some really good options for that now. Being able to sell NFTs, all those big things we wanted to do are there. So now we can start putting some more fun stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to selling NFTs, when will the other chains be available?
So we're still working on it at the moment. The big challenge with some of the other chains, it's not all, but some, is doing it in the VR, and we're not prepared to compromise on having different methods for doing things in the different platforms. We want to get it right so that whatever you do in mobile is the same as VR, and whatever you do on PC is the same as VR and mobile. So to do that, obviously, you need to be able to interact and sign transactions and all those types of things. And they're that's the difficult stuff. We are looking at other ways of transacting without directly necessarily having to sign transactions. So we are doing that at the moment with Wax. It's just a password entry. So we're looking at ways we can sort of do that with other platforms as well and other chains.
Okay, and you did mention gamification coming into the Vault later on. And speaking of games, let's look at RFOX Games. What's the latest update there?
Yeah, so the second game, which will have the COGS integration, we're expecting a playable version to land internally this week. So we'll start testing that, and we'll do a few more teasers and art drops and screenshots and things like we've been doing in our AMAs. So we're really excited to see a working version of that and get our hands on it. And then we'll work very quickly towards getting that out to a sort of a closed beta MVP state. And then, as we did with Cog Slam, we'll move that through very quickly. So we just want to get a bit of feedback first, and then we'll get it out to the general public. So that's getting very close. So we're excited about that.
Okay, and how about RFOX TV? What are the latest developments there?
So with RFOX TV, we've obviously gone to an MVP phase, but what we did do is we onboarded a lot of creators, and that product is about as live as any of our products are in the MVP stage, because it's on the web, it's out there, and people are using it. The piece that's missing at the moment is the minting functionality, but before we turn that on, what we're doing is we're taking all the feedback that's coming back from the creators, and we've had a lot because we've onboarded so many, which is excellent. So we're rolling all that feedback in. We're trying to really fine tune the product. Once we're happy and we feel that it's we've sort of taken care of that feedback and given those creators what they wanted to see, then we'll go into the next phase, which is to put the mint functionality in and open it up.
Fantastic. All right. Now, there's also the NFT marketplace. A lot happening there. What's the latest update there?
So it's a very similar situation. So before we go to mainnet, we're doing the same thing. We've had a lot of UI feedback. I think it's a marketplace is one of the things that people obviously are familiar with, and I think there's these preconceived ideas of how it should work. And so what we're doing is we're trying to build in as much as we can of that feedback while still sticking to our original UI design and everything. So that's a bit of a tweaking process, but at the same time, we're doing a lot of back-end work. So we've had some really big speed increases, obviously with marketplaces, because there's so much data coming down. One of the big bottlenecks is actually downloading all that data and having that still be a smooth experience for the user. So we've done a lot of work on speeding it up, loading times, things like that. And I'm sure that people have noticed who are in there and using it. So as soon as we're happy with that, then we'll turn the mainnet on and start adding the other chains in.
And so, Luke, how do you think brands might react to the offering once the products are all up, ready to go and ready to be used?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that you need to show and prove, and that's what we're trying to do. A lot of what we're doing isn't about us trying to build this whole thing ourselves, and I know Ben said this many times, but what we're trying to do is show people what this is. This is a new concept of having a one-stop shop for everything, everything Web3 related all in one place. And I don't think until we actually show people how this will work and give them examples and really display what we can do, I don't think, I think it's really hard for people to imagine it. And it kind of, some of it was for us as well until we really started plugging it all together. And I think that's really when it's going to happen, when people come in and can see exactly what we can do, what we can offer, see it firsthand. And I think that will really give people ideas on what they can do. For example, with the shops that we've sold these shops with an idea, which was to sell NFTs in them, but they don't have to sell NFTs in the shops. It can be anything. It could be a game. It could be another world. It can be whatever they want it to be. And it's the same with this whole ecosystem. This whole vault really can be anything anyone wants it to be. And we just need to offer some examples up and let people use their imagination.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. I think we better leave it at that then, Luke. Thanks so much for providing updates from your perspective. Really interesting to hear. Is there anything else that you wanted to add before we finish up?
No, just keep an eye out because there's a lot happening at once, and there's going to be this explosion of products coming out. So and also just finishing off all the things that are currently in MVP, because they sort of started at a similar time. They're going to sort of all finish at the same time as well. So look out for that. Look out for functionality in the Vault. We're working pretty hard on that. And obviously the mobile apps. That's probably the most exciting thing that's coming out in the next week or two. So that's really exciting too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap it up then. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Lenny.
High five.